When Sony decided to go make their own gaming console after Nintendo's betrayal of their PlayStation project, they had to be sure to get everything right in order to make an impact. And of course, they didn't hold anything back as they were able to deliver a system capable of playing 32-bit games on CD-ROM, great games may I add, and the price of $2.99 wasn't so bad either. But in order to play these titles and access the true potential of the PlayStation, you have to have a controller to plug into it. And what Sony came up with would span console generations to come. This is the PS1 controller, the primary controller for the original PlayStation. It's probably the best controller out of the 5th generation of consoles. It has that kind of design that just works and is easy to grip, though I think they missed the boat when it came to the Saturn's directional pad. I like this bad boy. And the N64? We'll just put that over to the side for a future episode. Taking a closer look at the D-pad, we see it's certainly not like any other before it, and there's a good reason for that. Nintendo, who originally invented the D-pad for the Donkey Kong Game & Watch, had the patent for this design 5 years after this was released. Other companies like Sony had to make adjustments to their own directional pads to make sure no legal action would be taken. And their answer was pretty interesting. It kept the 4 directions out, but nixed any center correlation, which isn't a problem as I'm able to get around just fine. Imagine if they were able to put a little button in the middle for whatever reason. That would have been real ridiculous, especially if it was a trackball. Moving over to the right where the action buttons lie with their unforgettable design of shapes that would pretty much be the backbone of the PlayStation's look and marketing. Each button is meant to mean a different thing. Circle is accepting commands, the X is for canceling commands, even though it's the other way around in most games in the States. Square is for menu access, and triangle represents point of view. If you also go in the same order I did, the button placement represents how kids are able to draw them. Not sure if that's true, but I imagine Sony employees have much better knowledge of some things than I do. Now on the top we have the 1 and 2 buttons on the left and right shoulders of the controller. Most gamers were used to just having one button on each side, but Sony went the extra mile and added a second button for better advancements in games and perhaps put that middle finger to good use. We also have the cord coming out of the middle here, and it feels like it's made out of some heavy-duty stuff. I mean, it must be if it's gonna hold up whatever the hell this is. I've been delaying looking at the middle of this controller for an obvious reason that we'll get to in just a moment, for you see now a logo for Sony, a logo for the PlayStation, plus a triangle start button, and a rectangular select button. Don't need to explain those, I hope. Now the most noticeable thing that I'm sure most of you saw is the absence of the 2 joysticks that would normally occupy this area of the controller. Well, truth be told that the original PS1 controller did not have those control sticks. In fact, it would take another 3 years before the dual analog controller was to be released and become the status quo for PlayStation controllers in the future. I'm a little up in the air if I should review the dual analog or better yet the DualShock controller in future episodes. They're about the same kind of thing, but if you're interested, leave a comment for me to consider. I should probably stop doing this, but we're gonna look at the back of the controller. And will it be worth it? Not so much. All we have is Sony reminding you whose controller you're holding, who it was made by, where it was made, and a model number. Also, there's this M that I like to think the ESRB rated this controller to make sure the youngins didn't mishandle it. Now let's go ahead and hook this controller up to the almighty PlayStation and get to playing those 32-bit CD-ROMs that could pass for vinyl CDs. Those are a real thing, you know. But anyway, with this controller you'll be able to play all the classic action adventures, platformers, fighters, RPGs, racers, and the occasional puzzler here and there. So many great titles that I'm really lacking. I promise to do better in the future once my Atari addiction runs its course. The PS1 controller stands as a testament to great beginnings for Sony and the long-lasting legacy that is to come. It really could be considered the perfect controller scheme. I mean, could you see the N64 controller getting that honor? I didn't think so. I also learned that supposedly US controllers are 10% larger than the Japanese models because of the difference in hand sizes between the countries. Definitely wouldn't do me any favors, I'd probably crush it, but our current president of the United States could probably use those no problem. Now are we sure he's a US citizen? Got any fond memories with this controller / accessory? Tell me about it by leaving a comment. If you like what you see, be sure to leave a like. If you think others would like this, share the video around. And if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button pronto. This is BrianTheBlue, and I'll see you later.